Imagine facing a major life event like sending a child to college or buying your first home, only to realize you're completely financially unprepared. What crucial steps did you miss? Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll have all of the steps that you need to avoid this nightmare scenario. Hi everybody, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you don't know me, I am the owner of frozenpennies.com. I'm a financial coach, and as a family, we are debt-free. Big life changes happen at every stage of life, but as we get older, I feel like the life changes get bigger. Are you sending your kid off to college? Are you trying to move your aging parents across country so they can be closer to family? Are you getting ready to retire? I'll be sharing with you some of my personal experiences today, as well as a step-by-step guide to creating a budget just in case you don't have them, and navigating the spending habits that might need to be adjusted. Major life events really do require a larger pile of money in order to get started. Let's go over some of these life events that might be happening that you might need to stockpile your money. Are you sending your kid to college? It happens. A lot of us parents believe that it's our responsibility to help pay for that, whether it be saving since they started kindergarten or taking out a Parent Plus loan in order to help them, or just helping them as much as we possibly can through the years. Some of us are at the age where our children are getting ready to get married. It's always nice when we can help contribute to a big wedding event and help the newlyweds start out on the right foot. Buying a new home happens a lot in this season of life, whether you are downsizing because you have empty nest. The statistics show that divorce rates are actually quite high for women in their 50s, so separations might be happening where you need your own place to live. Medical emergencies many times require a stockpile of money, so having that money to prepare for a medical emergency is a win-win situation. And these medical emergencies could be for you or your spouse or partner, or they could also mean your parents. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit further on aging parents. A good friend of mine actually relocated her mom from California to Florida. That's a journey. She had to go out to California and help her mom settle her estate, sell things, sell the house, and then she was moving to a retirement community in Florida to be near her and the rest of the family. My cousin did something similar. She moved her mom a shorter distance from New Jersey, my great aunt, from New Jersey to our area, the south of Albany area. But it was a challenge because there was a lot of things to do, and there were expenses that were involved that both women wanted to assist their moms in taking care of. I know another friend of mine who actually bought a brand new house with a master suite downstairs on the main level. She gave that to her mom. Her mom, they all moved from the New York City area up here. Her mom got that master suite while her and her husband took the upstairs until eventually her mom passed away. Me, as an only child, I've yet to experience this. My mother, I don't know how my mother would feel about moving in with me or moving closer to me. She lives about 2 hours away. My dad passed away before we could even get to that point, and my mother-in-law has a fantastic setup with a really great little apartment. I can't imagine she's going to ever want to go anywhere. How do these impact your finances? Well, if you have some warning, like your kids going away to college, we know that that's a long process to prepare for. If you're willing and it's in your moral compass to help them with that, then you have plenty of time to do that. If it's a medical emergency, having an emergency fund, which we're going to talk about in a little while, will prepare you for that emergency. And then aging parents, it's great to be able to tap into savings if you can help them with things. With aging parents, it's great to be able to have a nice little savings where you can put some money aside in case you need to help them with things. And of course, retirement, we're all planning for retirement forever. It really is crucial to be prepared. So How do you exactly prepare for these things? If you're preparing on buying a house, now we know that buying a house is a long-term commitment. The average mortgage length is 30 years. You can apply for a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage. If you're selling your current house, your best bet is to get as much as you possibly can for that current house and just throw all of the profit into the new house. And also consider downsizing if you are in a season of life that you can do that. I know good friends of ours they have their house up for sale, a beautiful house, waterfront, absolutely gorgeous. They bought a very super small cabin, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, little loft space, open floor plan. It's adorable. It's only 2 of them. They realized they didn't need that big waterfront house. They can sell that, buy for cash this small cabin, and then just bank the rest for saving for retirement. You have to consider whether this is a realistic goal in your season of life. If you've never bought a house and you're, say, in your late 50s, would it be worth it to grab that 30-year mortgage and be paying on that house potentially until you're 87 years old? Does that make financial sense? If you've never bought a house, maybe sticking to renting is the best way to go. If you are looking for more information on buying a house with the cost of everything feeling just out of reach, I encourage you to check out this video above. If you want to help your children with either a college education or their upcoming nuptials, consider how much they can contribute, how much can you contribute, and realistically take into consideration that they have the rest of their life to go to college and pay that college experience themselves. You only have a finite number of years left in the workforce to save your retirement. So, if it comes down to you paying for your college education or you having a comfortable retirement, you may want to think twice about that and consider putting your retirement first. I know that's a little bit controversial and it might push some buttons, and there are people out there that think it's their responsibility to pay for their child's education, but it's not necessarily quite the case if you don't have the money. If you do have the money to pay the entire thing and you've been saving for that since they were 5 years old, then by all means, absolutely go for it. Absolutely help them as much as you possibly can. If you do have the money, or if you don't have the money and you're planning on doing this as a joint venture with your child, consider where they go to college. Are they going to a state college? Are they going to a private college? Are they trying first with an associate's degree at a local community college? Consider all of that. Are they able to get scholarships and financial aid? Consider all of that before choosing a college. If you're feeling retirement looming and it's coming up faster than you think, how are you doing? Are you saving for retirement? Are you debt-free? Do you know anything about investing? Is it high time you learned how to do these things? Are you living the most frugal life? When exactly are you thinking about retirement? And really, do you have the steps written down to get you there, to get you to that goal? And one other thing also, major life expenses are big bills, like a big medical bill that's looming over your head or a big tax bill. Do you have a plan to get rid of that as soon as possible? Have you considered something like the debt snowball or the debt avalanche in order to attack that? Have you considered a spending freeze in order to stop all unnecessary spending so you can get rid of those big debts? You can also use something like a spending freeze in order to save money up for these other big life expenses. We've had a couple of big life expenses head our way in the last 10 or so years. My oldest son and daughter-in-law got married. We were able to save up some money and give them a nice helping hand with some of their money expenses for their wedding. They also, I think I've shared this story before, but I'm so impressed with them. They also, both of them, were working multiple jobs just in order to pay for the wedding. Now, my daughter-in-law had an image of exactly what she wanted, and she's smart, and she's a planner, and she's frugal. So she was able to save up. They paid for the majority of their wedding on their own by taking on other jobs, saving extra money. My son actually started a little lawn mowing and landscaping business. My youngest son actually took over some of those lawn mowings to save some money for himself as well. And when my husband was getting closer to retirement, we had positioned ourselves financially in a place where we could do that. We made sure that we were completely debt-free and our house was completely paid off. Now, my husband was able to retire at 62 because he had a really hard job, a very physical job, and he was just sore and he was just tired. And I completely supported his decision in that because now we have a little bit extra time to spend together and the freedom to travel and do some other things. We might actually have too much time together. As a matter of fact, he came up to my office this morning while I was working and I said, "Hello, what's going on?" He says, "I was bored and I was lonely, so I thought I would come up and say hi," which is very, very sweet and very, very fun, although he knows not to do that too often. One key lesson that we have learned throughout the years is to start planning early and be flexible, because we all have an image in our mind of the way that things are going to play out. Rarely does it ever happen quite like we'd hope. Let's set up a step-by-step guide to creating a flexible budget. Now, I'm a planner, so a paper planner is so important to me. It just makes sense, and it's practical. Assessing your financial situation is something that I still do often. That's the very first step in creating a budget, is to assess your financial situation, see what you've got coming in and what you've got going out, what bills you are paying, and even where you tend to overspend. Knowing your income, all of your expenses, and how much you can save. Next, set clear financial goals. If your goal is to help your child get through college, then you want to figure out how much money you need to save in order to make that happen per month. This might look like cutting back on some of the streaming service that you're paying for each month. It might look like spending less on groceries and food as a whole and cooking more from scratch and meal planning. It might look like trying to find a way to come up with some extra money in order to make your goals happen. Setting clear and concrete goals, no matter what those are, will actually help make that happen and help you in planning exactly how you're going to get there. Creating a budget plan. When you're creating a budget plan, it's all in the details. If you're looking to grab a free downloadable printable budget plan, I'm going to leave a link below for you. It has some great pages like this budget and bill tracker, and also one of my favorites, the debt payoff tracker. There are 3 major parts to creating a budget: track, allocate, and adjust. Tracking your expenses means that you're going to go through and write down everything that you spend your money on. Then you can go through with a highlighter or a marker or a pen and figure out which categories you are spending your money on. Then you're going to allocate. So if you're spending an average of $500 on groceries every month, you can allocate $500 to groceries every month. Then the last part is adjusting. So if you think that $500 a month on groceries is way too much for 2 people, then you can adjust as needed. Now, I want to caution you here. If you've never done a budget before, remember, it takes about 3 months or so to get a budget right. Keep practicing and don't give up. When you're saving for a big purchase, having a line in your budget specifically for that big purchase is essential in making sure that you have enough money to meet that goal. So don't forget every single month when you're doing your budget, because you are doing your budget every month, right? Make sure you put that line in there to allocate the funds where you want them to go. So when you have these big life expenses coming up, what are some of the tips that I can share with you to make that a little bit easier? Well, we talked about a budget, and that's a must. Right off the top, very first thing, must have a budget. And then we talked a little bit about this, tracking your expenses and then cutting out the unnecessary expenses. Now, depending on how important this big savings event is for you would really depend on how much that you want to cut. How crazy do you want to get? Is it time to sell the extra car and go down to one car? Is it time to ditch the expenses that you are no longer using? That doesn't seem to hurt so much. Is it time to put more energy and effort into meal planning so you can reduce your food budget? Are you willing to, like my friends did, sell your big house and downsize in order to put more money into retirement savings? If you've identified that you spend a lot of money on food as a whole, this includes your groceries, your takeout, and your dining out, you could decide that date night can maybe only happen once a month instead of every single month. You could potentially save hundreds of dollars a month by decreasing date night from 3 or 4 times a month down to once a month. You could find ways to increase your income. If you have a skill set, which most of us by this age have a pretty good skill set, then you could potentially start a side hustle. I just saw on Facebook, a friend of mine from high school just opened up a cupcake business. The trick is, the niche that she has picked is their alcohol infused frosting cupcakes. I've never heard of this before, but apparently it's super popular in my area, and it comes with like a little vial of alcohol stuffed in the cupcake frosting as well. Now, it probably isn't right for me because I don't drink alcohol, but somebody else might find this perfect for their celebration. If you're looking for other side hustles that you can start, I'm going to leave a video above all about 27 side hustles that you might find perfect for yourself. And then we need to automate our savings. We need to make savings as easy and thoughtless as possible. Making sure that an automatic delivery into your savings account happens when you get paid or before you get paid, say right out of your paycheck every week, every month, every paycheck, in order to build that savings. Out of sight, out of mind, don't even have to think about it, don't even have to worry about, don't even have to budget for it. It's already gone, it's already there. And one of the most important parts in this part of life is also having an emergency fund. And yes, you're allocating money to your child's education. Yes, you're putting a little bit of money aside for your parents' move across country. And yes, you're doing your due diligence to invest in your retirement. But if something happens, a major medical emergency or something catastrophic happens, and you don't have an emergency fund, that means that you can't continue to contribute to those big expenses that you want to contribute to. So making sure you have an emergency fund that you're also allocating money to every single paycheck will really help you as a cushion just in case. Life is unpredictable, and having a cushion can save you. Just to recap, financially preparing for major life events means assessing your current financial situation, setting goals, creating that budget, and adjusting your spending habits. Remember, it's never too late to start these things. It's never too late to start preparing for your future, and every small step matters. Remember that nightmare scenario we talked about at the beginning of the video? Well, following these steps and preparing for these major life events will help to make them much less scary. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I truly appreciate you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.